Am I the asshole for calling the police when the people I was babysitting for would not answer their phone? Hi. I don't know if I'm allowed to post here. I'm 14 and I babysit for a few people in my neighborhood. On Friday I was babysitting for a couple that moved into the city from the south. They are only a block from my house, so my parents were okay with me staying there until 10. They said they would be home by 9. They did not get home at 9. At 9:45 I started texting them to see if they were on the way. Then I called my parents. My mom came over because I was getting worried. It had snowed pretty bad on Friday and they weren't answering. At 11:30 we phoned the police. I was freaking out. The police got their names and address and I guess found their license plates like that. They found them in about 25 minutes. They were at their friend's house. They called me and they were mad that I called the police. I promise I wouldn't have called the police if they had answered my texts or calls. And my mom was concerned as well. I didn't call to get them in trouble. I was worried. But they told my mom that I'm not mature enough to be babysitting if that's how I'm going to behave. I feel kinda bad that the police made them come home from their friend's house. But I think that they should have answered the phone. What if there was something wrong with their kids? Not the asshole the parents were taking advantage of you. You did everything you should have, including trying to reach them, contacting your mother, and then contacting the police. You've done nothing wrong. The parents are angry at being caught out on bad behavior. Not the asshole. 1. You're a literal child. 2. They gave you an undertaking, and failed to keep it or inform you. 3. You attempted to contact them first. 4. You sought advice from an adult, your mom. 5. They disrespected not only you but your parents who were comfortable allowing you out until 10, not nearly midnight. 6. You had no option to just go home when they didn't show because you were still responsible for their children. They're assholes and you should warn other babysitters off them. The fact that they didn't respond at all makes you not the asshole. Honestly, good job. Not the asshole. 1. They should have stuck to the time they told you to. If they were going to be late, they should have informed you and discussed options on what to do with the child. 3. You are 14, and did exactly the right thing. 4. Your concern for them was valid. They should apologize to you and your family. They are probably butt-hurt about feeling embarrassed in front of their friends for their utterly irresponsible behavior. Not the asshole they told you they would be home by 9 and were late by 3 hours. In business there is a term that is called a hard stop. That means you cannot stay past this time. If you decide to babysit again, for other folks, not these guys. Tell the parents, I have a hard stop at 11 p.m. If you are late, I get paid twice my hourly rate. Trust me, most couples will be home on time. Also, if a couple did this to me when I was babysitting, I would have fired them as clients. Edited for accuracy on parental lateness. And to specify not working for this couple again. Am I the asshole for screwing up my boyfriend's interview by not doing his laundry on purpose? Edit. When I got home I did tell him I was tired and I asked if he could do it, but he started saying that I had promised and he had plans with his friend already. So I agreed again afterwards, and then I took a nap and overslept, and when I woke up there was only an hour before the laundromat closed. So I could have still gone, but it would have been really rushed, and I was probably being a bit petty. Also, the blazer is from H&M. To keep this short, my 25 female boyfriend, 26 male, had a big interview on Friday that could jumpstart his career. He's been planning for it for about 3 weeks. Usually I do all the laundry and take care of our flat in terms of cleaning. On Wednesday he told me he wanted to wear a very specific blazer and it was in the bin to be washed. I usually do laundry on the weekends because I am a full-time uni student plus I work part-time, so during the week is hard to make time to go to the laundromat. I told him I would do it Thursday night though, and he said okay. Mind you, he hasn't been working since he just graduated school in the fall semester, so since the end of December, his parents help him pay the rent until he gets a job. Anyway, Thursday rolls around and I get home from class and he's just playing a video game and he immediately asks me when I'm going to do laundry since he's very nervous and wants it to go perfectly. I'm so tired from school because I had an exam he didn't even ask me about, so I feel irritated and say I'm going to do it later but I'm going to nap first. He again says okay and he's going to meet up with a friend for a drink to help calm his nerves. Anyway, as the title says, I ended up not doing the laundry because I was tired and also partially pissed off. He was super pissed, ended up wearing something else and saying that I screwed him up by not filling what I agreed to. I thought this might blow over since he said it still went well despite me attempting to sabotage him. But he is not speaking to him still and has even said he may go stay with his parents over this. Was I really that much an ass? There was nothing stopping him from washing it on his own. If it was that important, he should have done it. That being said, he asked you to do it and you said you would. But you didn't do it. Not the asshole. He can do his own laundry, but he chose to play video games and go and drink with his friends. Info. Why would you do his laundry when he's not currently working or in school? What does he do all day? He had all day to do it. He should have gotten his butt up from the game and took care of it. Not the asshole. Let him do his own laundry going forward since he doesn't do anything except play games. Girl. Why are you doing his laundry, and all of the cleaning, while being a student and working? You are not his mother or his maid. It should be an even split. And if he's not working, he should be doing more. He sat there playing video games instead of doing his own laundry. If the blazer was that important to him, he would have washed it himself. Not the asshole, but man, you two need a CTJ talk. Am I the asshole for not splitting my daughter's college fund? When my 42F daughter, 17F, was 7, we lost her father to an avoidable accident. Due to that and the subsequent settlement, my daughter was able to have a trust fund of sorts that provided for college, grad school if she wanted, and even some left over for whatever life might bring. It is money that managed wisely would enable her to have a head start in life. She knows about this and has never taken for granted given where the money came from. After all, we'd both rather have her father around than the money. That said, life moves on and I remarried 6 years after my former husband's passing to a lovely man who has 2 children of his own, 17F, 13M. All of the children live with us, primarily with his children seeing their mother on vacations as she lives across the country. This year, both our girls are graduating and should be headed to college. My daughter was admitted ed to her dream school last year and is ecstatic about it. Her father is an alumnus and she has this old sweatshirt of his that she kept to remind her of him. She cried so much when she got in, and both her stepfather and I were proud of her because she worked hard to get in. My stepdaughter will also be attending a wonderful school that is one of the top-ranked schools for her interests. The problem now arises with the money to pay for SD school. Because her parents cannot afford to pay the tuition in its entirety, SD will have to take some loans. All told, she will graduate with about $40,000 in loans, which I think is still quite modest for the school she's attending and her earning prospects post-graduation. But my daughter will graduate debt-free, and for my husband this is suddenly a problem. He wants us to split up my daughter's fund between all 3 kids because then they could all, probably, have college fully paid for. My daughter won't have much left over and will definitely need to borrow for grad school, which she has expressed interest in attending, but, according to my husband, that's okay because everyone will start off on an equal footing post-college. I think this is unfair to my daughter because 1, her father had to die for this money, and 2, this is like her inheritance from him. My husband thinks that they are all siblings and she should be happy to share the money with them if it means giving her siblings a head start in life. I absolutely do not want to put her in the position of being guilted into saying yes if she doesn't want to. I have expressed all of this to my husband and he thinks that I'm being selfish, that I'm teaching my daughter to be selfish, and I obviously don't consider my SKs the same as my daughter. Am I the asshole for wanting to protect my daughter's trust for her as it was intended? ETA. Since I've seen this a few times already, both kids do have college funds but somewhat smaller because my husband and his ex got their finances together later in life. So there is some money, but with the caliber, COA of the school that SD will be attending, she will still need some loans to cover costs. I haven't brought up going to a cheaper school because that will be a fresh set of problems given where my daughter will be matriculating. Not the asshole. That settlement was for your deceased husband's children, not your future children, and certainly not someone else's. Not the asshole. No way. He needs to provide for his kids. You have, tragically, provided for your kid. This is her money. Why hasn't he been saving for his kids' education all along? He can co-sign on his kids' loans and pay them off. These are his kids and he and his ex-wife need to provide their educational expenses. Not the asshole. This is money from her dead father. This isn't money you've earned since becoming a stepmother. Your husband is being selfish here, the irony. He wants money that isn't his and is mad you won't capitulate. You need to set a boundary around them asking your daughter. If you go around my back and ask my daughter to split it, we will be getting a divorce. Boundaries require consequences that can be enforced. I think this is unfair to my daughter because 1, her father had to die for this money. Curate, this was all I was going to say and all that needs to be said. Curate, not the asshole. It's 100% your daughter's money and 100% not anyone else's. And shame on your husband for trying to take any of your daughter's money that came from her father dying. His kids are in no way, shape or form entitled to any of that money. Sorry that they will have a bit of debt, but at least they have their entitled father. And #X200B. I hope you show him all of these not the asshole replies. No one is on his side. Tell your current husband that he can die and give that insurance money to his kids. There, now, that would be fair. Stare him in the eye when you tell him that, and talk to a lawyer. What does your will look like, Op? Are you squared away? What happens to your daughter's inheritance if something happens to you? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for walking home because my brother-in-law wouldn't let me eat in his car? My brother-in-law was driving us home and my hands were starting to shake because I hadn't eaten, so I was going to eat one of the pastries I bought, but he said I couldn't eat in his car. He was acting like his precious car would combust if it got crumbs in it, so I asked him to pull over because I needed to eat something. I decided to just walk home while I ate my pastry because I was annoyed at him. He kept asking me to get back in the car and claimed my husband would bust his balls if he let me walk home, but I told him I didn't care and I walked the entire way. So now my husband is mad at his brother and my brother-in-law is blaming me because I refused to get back in the car. They had a huge argument when my husband first found out, and my husband also privately told me I should have just let his brother drive me home instead of being stubborn and walking. Every time we argue about it, my brother-in-law asks me if I'm going to start sulking again, which is really getting on my nerves. Am I the asshole? So I asked him to pull over because I needed to eat something. He complied and pulled over so you could eat. Then you proceeded to act like a toddler because he did exactly as you asked? You are the asshole. You literally had to eat a pastry that second? You were so desperate for energy, literally shaking, yet you were able to walk home to prove a point? If it wasn't that far of a walk, then it would have been an even shorter drive. Surely you could have waited to stuff your face. I think you're a control freak. If him bringing up how you act gets on your nerves, then maybe don't act that way. And learn to be patient. Edit. Why are we assuming Op is diabetic? Did she say that? When making an Am I the Asshole post, wouldn't it make sense to disclose that if it were true? You are the asshole, it's his car, his rules, and you seem to have an issue respecting the rules he has for his precious car. He was acting like his precious car would combust if it got crumbs in it. Did you pay for his vehicle? Do you clean and maintain his vehicle? His car, his rules. That's the way it is. I decided to just walk home. That's on you. You decided that all on your own and you let your husband fight with your bill? Wow. You are the asshole. How were you in such a bad state in the car that you needed to eat that second, but you were also completely fine to then walk home? Seems like you were being over dramatic and stubborn. You are the asshole.